Hi, everybody. It is August 23rd, 2024. So, hi, Geofactor. Staying in another new place for a few days. Yeah. Well, glad you have a place, but going here, there, and everywhere is not good. It's not good for you mentally and physically, psychically. So, yeah. Everybody's circumstances are different, and some people have circumstances that are much harder. Remember that, please. It's very important to remember. Alicia DeMoss, Sandra, Analog Synth Player, Rage. Lockdown enforced. It was a voluntary curfew imposed. The schools decided to go ahead and do the curfew 8 p.m. It wasn't an outbreak, it was just one person who contracted Triple E, Eastern Equine Encephalitis. So, yeah. Giant food stores in D.C. are banning minors without adults after 6 p.m. to combat theft. Crime used to control the populace. Yeah, I included in the live last night this article about, and even, I don't know what publication it was. I think it was Daily Mail that said it was a lockdown. It's not a lockdown. So we need to use the right language. And it was for just one person contracting Eastern Equine Encephalitis, which has been in the East Coast for a very, 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 very long time. But hey, go ahead, Massachusetts. Oxford, Massachusetts. Crazy Pots, Mark Anthony, Angelos, Andrew Cruz, L, and Patricia White and Oracle 11. Hello, Barb in Ohio. Hello. And T. Lamb, nice to see you. Thank you. All right, so again tonight, the detox stuff that I was talking about last night. I heads up, I may have to ditch this live stream. I'll see how I can, how I'm doing, but boy, my stomach is really hurting. Detox. It's something good for you, but the process, it's not fun. All right, radar. Oof. Again, Idaho had afternoon, these thunderstorms that come about, the high winds, very similar to Arizona with the winds, just going in every direction, whipping up a storm, the thunder, and then it just breaks into a sunny day, and then the clouds come back and another thunderstorm and rain. And that has been about 3 times today, this afternoon. So look at Colorado into Nebraska. This doesn't look good. This looks like severe weather for you guys. And Arizona has been getting hit. Southern Arizona in particular, getting hit quite a bit. And look at this. Look at these. It's going in a westerly direction. Texas, nanobots have their own GPS, and they can, from supercomputers, just decide where they're going to go. So forget about the jet stream. which we don't have anymore, I don't think. Look at Florida. Supercells in action. But Arizona got hit again. You got a supercell activated here. North Oklahoma. Montana. Northwest Montana. You're getting quite some storms. And then into central Montana. Let's just look at, look at this. So you can tell which states are going to have the severe weather warnings by just looking at all of the supercells that are activated. Arizona, Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, Texas, and Utah. What was happening in Utah? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Utah. Don't take it personally, but right there. Okay. All right, so the counties that this severe weather is happening in, let's see. Hilia, Arizona. I think that's how you pronounce it. Grand and San Juan, Utah. Cascade, Chateau. Oh, God, I'm so bad. Sorry. Glacier, Lewis and Clark, Liberty, Pondera, Teton and Toole, Montana, Daniels and Valley, Montana, Pima, Arizona. You got Blaine, Fergus, and Judith Basin, Montana. That's a lot of counties. All right, well, Montana, be careful. Morgan and Washington, counties in Colorado. Emory and Wayne in Utah. Cheyenne and Kimball in Nebraska. Logan, Weld, that's 2 counties, in Colorado. Pima and Pinal, Arizona. Callahan, Jones, Shackleford, and Taylor in Texas. Flathead, Lake, Lincoln, Sanders, Montana. And Banna, Morrell, Scottsbluff in Nebraska. The link is in the chat. Be very careful, all of you. Pay attention to the weather. There's never been a better time to pay attention to the weather. I'll put the link to the radar site as well. But that severe weather, I got off the tornado alert page because it doesn't matter. The severe weather includes tornadic activity. Okay, so that's why they can bring about anything. All right. The radar link is in the chat. And I'm going to do this early on. I noticed after I closed off the live last night, somebody asked for this link. I'm surprised I didn't share it. Oregon, their Hacienda housing program for illegal migrants. Yeah, to give them $30,000 taxpayer money. Sounds like a great program for individuals who are not American citizens. It is such a slap in the face. Oregonians and Californians that have, a similar program going on, but it's such a slap in the face for all of us, considering the mega billions that we are spending to house, to maintain their health, to educate, to provide cash, to feed illegal migrants. So let me just do a little bit of the weather that I have. Arizona.
A little bit of everything tonight. Rain, hail, wind, whole lot of dust. All of it slamming the valley today. Just a huge wall of dust moving across the East Valley, creating dangerous conditions out on our roads as well. Another look at the dust right here. This time lapse coming in from Santan Valley. You see how low the visibility gets And then those trees just whipping around in the wind.
The rain, it was coming down hard at points too. Our live drive caught this downpour in Scottsdale during the evening commute, and we're seeing some damage left behind tonight. Take a look at this tree down in a parking lot in Ahwatukee, causing damage to that equipment and sending water shooting high into the air.
We do have team coverage tonight tracking this very active weather evening. Chief Meteorologist Amber Sullins has your most accurate forecast. But let's start with Marissa Sarbach, who found lots of damage. We see it behind you there, all around the valley tonight, Marissa.
Yeah, Katie, Javier, we spent hours driving around trying to find the spots that were hit hardest, and we concentrated on the areas that viewers told us the most damage was in. So first off, we did stop in Ahwatukee that you just mentioned, and also right now we're over by 64th Street and Thomas, and as you can see behind me, this is the worst of it, what we found in this area. This is where a massive tree fell into a roof, kind of crashing through a home here. Now, we spoke with one of the neighbors in this area, and he told us he actually heard the whole thing happen.
The rain was just pouring down in sheets, and then it started going sideways. Before that, there was small hail, so it was really an unusual weather pattern. And I was starting to close my windows, and I noticed a loud bang, and it was this particular tree hitting the corner of my neighbor's house.
That neighbor Larry there telling me that the metal panels started to actually come off of a roof across the street. He saw them fly down the road. Now, the other area that we saw with tons of trees taken out from the storm was over in Ahwatukee. This is over by Ray Road and 46th Street. A cinder block wall crushed by a tree was getting cut up by crews and removed by the time that our crew got there. And we also saw a few cars in Ahwatukee covered or hit by trees. Dozens of trees were uprooted during this powerful storm. Just blocks away from there, we saw other big trees laying across a few of the eastbound lanes of Ray Road, forcing traffic in that area to slow down, move to another lane, and go around it. Now, back here on McDowell near 52nd Street, we saw many of the traffic lights go out in the area, all down McDowell Road. Earlier, when we were first coming out when this storm passed through, those traffic lights have been restored, but on the way out here again tonight, we did see that a few crews were putting up the fences that have fallen over. We also saw a neighbor trying to put up the fence in his backyard, so certainly going to be a lot of cleanup in this area and over in that Ahwatukee area. Amber, I know you've been tracking this storm for us all night. Certainly going to be a lot of cleanup after this.
So there you have it. Well, more severe weather for you, Arizonians. Yeah. City of Naples, Florida, issues warning for extreme high tides this week. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a hurricane, it doesn't have to rain.
Every year around this time, tides run higher than usual. Every year around this time, tides run higher than usual. And just yesterday, the city sent out a newsletter warning you about the extreme high tides hitting Naples over the next few days.
This can obviously be a problem for our coastal communities. NBC2's Alexa Velez is local in Naples, looking at how the upcoming high tide could affect roads.
So this is that time of the year when we have higher than normal tides. They're called king tides. And, being a coastal community, we're susceptible to the higher tides. So really what we wanted to do is make sure that the community has it on their radar.
High tide flooding can lead to road closures, overwhelmed storm drains, and even property damage. That's why the city of Naples put out this newsletter Monday, warning residents about extreme high tides forecasted this week. The threat is greatest in low-lying areas like Park Shore, Old Naples, and downtown.
The drainage system in the city of Naples relies on gravity, meaning that when there's king tides and heavy rains, it can sometimes get overwhelmed. City manager Jay Budeshwar says that drains like this one that lead into the bay can sometimes cause water to back up into our streets, so they're working on long-term solutions to improve the system.
This was not always the case. Why is it now? Overwhelm the drainage system. How many times have we heard that? Well, your tax dollars, you guys in Naples, we're supposed to be going to, maintain the infrastructure, update it. I guess they just forgot. Where'd the money go then? All right, good into thin air video. I will link below because I'm not going to play the whole thing. And there it is. If you don't know Into Thin Air, the link is in the chat to the video. All you have to do is hit subscribe. All you have to do is hit Into Thin Air. You'll go to his channel, check out his videos, because he's providing a lot of very good information that an awful lot of us are no longer providing.
Welcome back, everyone. I've got some weird stuff to show you going on the NEXRAD radar. We've got some weird anomalies taking place off Southern California. We will definitely take a look at that, but even more insane is what's going on right now as we speak in the central U.S. You're not going to believe what we just caught on radar. You can clearly see one of these towers glitching and showing two areas of precipitation that do not exist, and then they layer next to each other, as we've shown in many videos. What they are doing here is using the frequencies from these NEXRAD towers that were built to harness a lot more power than we were told they were built for back in the 90s, and they are capable of manipulating weather in real time. Alright, so let's jump into this. Alright, so Central America being the crazier of the two anomalies that we're looking at. You can see the two flashes there of situations that just do not exist. We're first going to look at Southern California. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but it's very odd that we see all these NEXRAD radar beams shooting out into the ocean from Southern California, and the reason that's weird is because there is no weather here to even look at right now. Jumping over to a more clear weather chart, you can see down in Southern California there is nothing to even track with NEXRAD. So there's no reason why these beams should be shooting out as if there's a storm being tracked. You can see right here nothing is near the entirety of California, let alone Southern California. So again, it makes no sense why we're seeing multiple NEXRAD radar towers crisscrossing beams as if they are searching or looking for something here off the coast of Southern California. Now, we don't know if that's exactly true, but this is not normal. There's something going on down here. Look at this line that just popped up. Something is taking place off the coast of Southern California, maybe some military exercises. We'll go check that out. But first, we have to talk about this anomaly here popping up right over Missouri and Kansas. Because not only do we see the layering here from the NEXRAD radar towers, the manipulation energy we see and we have covered for months and even years now, but then right after that pops up, the entire weather system that shows up in one frame then disappears. Take a look at this. It comes and goes, one frame, boom, and then the next frame, it's gone. Now, the only explanation for that is that the NEXRAD radar towers are doing some sort of testing or experiments that we have caught them doing many times in manipulating or enhancing, changing, steering, all sorts of weather situations. Now, if we jump over to another version of the NEXRAD radar towers, we could see a double pop-up of this situation. It's almost as if it was mirrored and pushed across the state before then disappearing again. You could see each one shows up for one frame. An entire weather system that would cover multiple counties. That's how big these two things are, and they are just popping up for 2 frames and then they are gone. My friends, this is not normal. There is something going on with these NEXRAD radar towers, as I've been telling you forever now, and I take a...
And yeah, it is not normal. There is no rain. I have, on many occasions, posted, with radar and saying, well, it looks like there's precipitation there, but no. All right. Actually, who it was, oh, my mind is going. It's going. This is scary. Dutch Sense. Woof. Okay. Dutch Sense. He was my number one teacher in weather modification and what was happening in the atmosphere. And he posted, many videos about the plasma being created, artificial plasma, and that had how these frequencies, NEXRAD, Doppler radar, are literally, these are my words, ripping apart the atmosphere, changing the molecular composition of the atmosphere that produces what you see here, but it's not precipitation. As for California, we have seen this over and over. I've actually shown it over and over. And
Welcome back, everyone. I've got some weird stuff to show you going on.
No rain going on. In fact, let's look at California right now. these frequencies still blasting away, and a different frequency, a different power level could produce what you saw on Into Thin Air's video with what looked like rain, but no, it's not. But these frequencies, this has been going on for years, and it's pretty much 24/7 Southern California. So it's do they change the power levels of the frequencies? Yes. Do they change the frequencies themselves? Yes. What they are doing, well, you need to be someone who's on the inside to know exactly what they're doing. But we all know these electromagnetic frequencies can be used for weather manipulation, to create an awful lot of emotional sickness, mental sickness, physical sickness, mind control, spiritual sickness in the population. They can be used for good, but we know that they are not using them for good. Look at the jump that this supercell is taking in Texas. Going, as far as I'm concerned, in the wrong direction. You can see the plasma line that just develops off this. All right, so yeah. The link is in the chat again. Brush fire breaks out near Grapevine. Anybody know? Because this was 4 hours ago. Anybody know if this is being supercharged?
Thanks for joining us for the KTLA 5 News at noon. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. We begin with breaking news. A brush fire burning along the Grapevine.
Let's get up to Mike Case in Sky 5. Mike?
Glenn, Lou, it all happened because a couple of big rigs got into it on the north and southbound lanes here, the 5 freeway, right between Templeton Highway and Vista del Lago. This happened just moments ago. It turned into a small brush fire here on the east side of the freeway.
Oh, it was an accident? Really? Is this grass up here that just decided not to ignite? That's quite a defined line, though.
Freeway. You can see LA City, LA County fire helicopters, one fixed wing. They've got hand crews on the scene. They're limiting this now, they say, to 20 acres. It looks like that. The wind is very calm up here. And CHP reports they had one victim, but no injuries. So they're assessing that person, make sure he's okay. We want to tell you about the traffic, though. Northbound 5 freeway starting at Templin, it is going to be just jammed up. CHP say at least 2 hours to get the northbound 5 freeway if you're heading up towards Pyramid Lake. They're getting a...
Great. All right, I'll post the link. It looks like they do have a handle on that fire, which is good, right? Bridge destroyed, fuel spilled. It was a train collision. 2 trains collided in Colorado.
Thank you so much for joining us. 8 o'clock here. I'm Andrea Henderson.
And I'm Kirk Yonke. Good to have you hanging out with us this week, Andrea. We continue to track this breaking news out of Boulder. A bridge damaged. Fuel was leaking at one point after 2 trains collided in Boulder overnight. This happened near Pearl Parkway, which is close to the intersection of Arapahoe and 48th. At one point, they had several roads shut down. They thought they might have to be shut down for days, but they've actually already opened those roads back up.
Yeah, so we have Fox 31's Kasha Carriage. She is right there on scene this morning. And I know you've been there all morning long. You can see kind of that damage right behind you. So can you tell us what's happening there on scene, what crews are doing, what's going on there this morning?
Yeah, good morning, guys. This started at around 11 last night. Still a very active scene here. Take a look. You can see a lot of those crews are still investigating all around the train and the tracks. We've actually been seeing a lot of bikers and hikers being turned away from this trail and having to find different routes around this, which may be pretty far. People on their way to work can't get across here. Now the train, we're told, is about a mile long, so obviously this cleanup is going to take some time, although our latest update is that those roads have reopened, so that's some good news there, even though, you know, they do have to clean this up still. At least it's not impacting the morning commute too much anymore. We have learned one rail bridge was destroyed in that crash, but no city property was damaged aside from them pulling some trees out of the ground here. Initially, it was believed that fuel was leaking from the engine into a creek, but it's now believed that fuel was actually absorbed by sand that spilled out of one of the cars. We got a lot of XL crews working on a power line that was impacted here this morning. Thankfully, though, due to all this damage, those conductors who were involved in this only had minor injuries. So we're hoping to get an update here in the next 30 minutes or so. BNSF Rail is actually now taking over this investigation from Boulder Police, who released that original information, but we'll keep you updated as we learn more this morning. For now, reporting live in Boulder, Kasha Carriage, Fox 31.
Train collision. Okay. T. Lamb, I don't agree with that. There are ways that you can prove it. Weather manipulation and the frequencies. You can see the frequencies on several radar sites. You can see the geoengineering that is taking place. And there are so many documents, so many papers where the military have been writing up on weather modification. But the problem is you need to educate people, and they need to have an open mind, and they need to be curious or something, you know. So, yeah. All right, trains collide. Apparently, this airplane comes apart because of a tarmac collision with a vehicle.
Es una puta broma, tío. Tranca total vibra. ¿Cómo la cargalala, tío? Venga. No te creo. Hostia puta, tío. No te creo. Venga, no volamos.
I don't think people are very careful these days. Suffolk County families can't drive down dead-end street after partial collapse. So when we focus on, oh my God, severe weather in a particular town in a particular state, and then we're dealing with something else the next day, they continue to deal with this day after day after day, a whole lot, week after week after week after week, and a whole lot year after year.
Some people in Suffolk County still cannot drive beyond their own street due to that storm damage that happened on Sunday.
Some of it here happening.
Oh, YouTube, you're just such a little game player, aren't you? Now what's going on?
Some people in Suffolk County still cannot drive beyond their own street due to that storm damage that happened on Sunday.
Some of it here happening along Mill Creek Road in head of the harbor. Now the village is scrambling to try to find a solution. Lisa Rosner spent the day there and talked with a homeowner.
This is how Jennifer Steinberg has to take out the trash, go food shopping, and get deliveries. Head of the Harbor Village Police say her street, Mill Creek Road, has a 120-foot section that collapsed Sunday into the body of water below. Police say adjacent Harbor Road had a massive breach, which emptied out into the pond, impacting this street.
That's been very stressful. I'm disabled, and it's very hard for me just to walk even from my drive. You know, it used to be my driveway to my house.
Steinberg and her 2 teenage daughters are one of 7 families who now cannot get out of their dead-end street by car. Steinberg, whose home is right on the water, is seeing her front and backyard slowly dissipating with every high tide.
Every tide that comes in and out takes more of the land away from the bulkhead that's lost.
The mayor says the village is working on an alternative for residents like Steinberg so they don't have to walk on this road.
Everybody
worries about seven families who live there and what could happen if they're in emergency. There is a private homeowner who lives up above these homes on Emmett Drive, and he's graciously considering allowing access over his property to a public road.
The plan is to build out a temporary roadway.
Steinberg says for now her home is habitable, but she worries.
It's so sad. It's very devastating. This house means so much to me in regards to my peace and my serenity.
The police chief and mayor add the roads were built as carriage paths, and they're waiting on FEMA and county funding to find a more permanent solution.
Oh, good luck with waiting on FEMA. High bacteria levels detected at Poplar Beach in Scarborough, in Maine. Listen to where the bacteria is coming from.
Officials are warning about high bacteria levels at a Poplar Beach in Scarborough. Officials say water testing at Ferry Beach shows bacteria levels above the EPA's standard. They are still waiting for final test results from the lab. The beach is still open for now, but officials say if you go in the water, it's at your own risk. Officials say there are several reasons for elevated bacteria levels, including stormwater runoff, a malfunctioning septic or sewage system, waste from wildlife or pets, or allowing children with dirty diapers in the water. Other beaches.
Okay. Massive marina fire sinks boat in New Jersey. Why are we having so many boats blow up? Why are we having so many planes that fall out of the sky? Why are we having so many train derailments, train collisions? Why are we having so many house explosions? But what is going on? These boats just seem to be exploding. And this is just one boat. Lucky for this marina, because we've seen other boats explode and then take out 10 yachts.
Scene at the Jersey Shore when a yacht in Cape May County goes up in
Okay. What? This is... Oh, my God. Okay. Would you believe it if you weren't witness to it? YouTube. I don't even have an ad blocker anymore. I don't have one. Okay.
A wild scene at the Jersey Shore when a yacht in Cape May County goes up in flames, forcing one person on board to jump to safety. Fortunately, no one was seriously hurt, but the boat is now at the bottom of the marina in Wildwood Crest. Our Steve Keeley with more.
A huge explosion. It was like something out of a movie.
And then Papal.
Bernadette Daber and her husband Paul were on their boat just across from the fuel dock in Wildwood, which is just off the bridge into town.
I just heard boom. And the next thing you know, I saw the deck from the boat flying up in the air from one dock to another, and it flew over to our dock.
And here's that section of the boat that blew up onto their dock. And here's what they then watched just across from them as they called for emergency help.
There's an explosion at first, and then you seen the smoke coming out.
Next thing you know, there's all black smoke, and next thing was flames, and everyone was just rushing down, trying to get hoses and fire extinguishers.
They hit it with a fire extinguisher. They hit it with some garden hoses, but it was too far gone by that time. The whole boat was on fire. The dock caught on fire. The little house that's on the dock caught on fire. So at that point, it was gone. And then finally, it sank.
And the only part of the 42-foot boat now above water is the bow railing, the shiny metal just a foot out of the bay, with a yellow oil boom around it to collect any of the 250 gallons of gasoline that workers said the father and son owners had just filled their tank with. That didn't burn in the fire. Wildwood.
What is going on? Look at this. Oh, okay. Well, 2 bodies found after a house explosion.
As we do continue to follow that breaking news just into the newsroom, search and rescue teams have now found 2 bodies in the rubble in a home explosion. KMBC 9's Andy Alcock is live near that scene. It's off Kimberly Drive, northwest of Excelsior Springs, and that's where investigators have been combing through that wreckage. Andy, obviously a difficult situation there.
Yeah, no question about it, Kelly. And we're told by neighbors, the 2 people who live there, a husband and wife, both of them about 70 years old. At this point, investigators are not identifying the people they believe to be the victims found in that rubble until next of kin is notified. Now, also earlier this morning, there was a deceased dog found here at the scene. We are told by neighbors it's likely the couple's small brown dog named Cinnamon. The explosion happened at about 4:30 this morning. It left the home in ruins, woke up neighbors, and caused some damage to nearby homes as well. Now, the cause hasn't been determined yet. One likely avenue investigators are exploring is a propane explosion. Now, because this neighborhood is in a rural area, there's no access to a natural gas line. Instead, each individual home has its own propane tank for cooking and heating. One neighbor tells us the woman who lived in the home owned a car which caught fire after the explosion. She saw it up in flames. Neighbors tell us because the couple's cars were there, they thought it was likely that they were at home when the house blew up. We are told the couple did not have any children of their own, but a neighbor tells us the couple did raise a niece and nephew. We believe that either one of them or both of them have been here at the scene either earlier this morning. They may still be here now. We haven't been able to get anywhere near it at this point.
That's quite the explosion. This is what's happening. I've shown on my live to houses all over the country. They're just exploding, and then it's like pickup sticks. Propane tank? Really? Okay. Whole lot of people have propane tanks. They don't just explode. Could it have been a surge from the utility company? I don't know. Could it have been a laser shot? It could have been anything. And Italy again. This time Sicily gets, yep, you're looking at it.
Islands causing serious damage. Mud. August 17.
I guess the drainage system is not working too well.
The video footage shows the flooding of the streets of Braunton, which turned into real downpours, indicating the intensity of the rainfall that hit the Etna Park area.
Maintaining their infrastructure.
Local authorities are working to restore normal life and provide assistance.
Overwhelmed. Can we shut down the drainage system? Yes. Yes, you do need to question your authorities. 4 global risks to look out for in the post-pandemic era. The link is in the chat. It's only a 17.5-minute video. I'm just going to play a few minutes. Press for truth. Thank you, Dan.
Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and what you're looking at here, guys, is a recent article from the World Economic Forum titled 4 Global Risks to Look Out For in the Post-Pandemic Era. Now, maybe I should remind you before we delve into this very revealing piece that the World Economic Economic Forum, which was founded by Klaus Schwab back in 2019, partnered up with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security.
Of course. Of course, of course. Where am I? Excellent connection. I guess it's not too excellent. Can't seem to even turn it on anymore. Let's do this. Refresh.
Fell short during the response to a Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, and they launched a tabletop exercise called Event 201. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18th, 2019, in New York. The exercise illustrated areas where public-private partnerships will be necessary during the response to a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and societal consequences. Again, this was a high-level pandemic exercise that the World Economic Forum conducted in October of 2019, discussing how the world would respond to a severe pandemic, and we all know what happened just 3 months later as these predictions all came to fruition to a T. I reported on this back in March of 2020 in this video. We need to talk about Event 201 and the COVID-19 predictive programming campaign, because that is exactly what that was, ladies and gentlemen, and that is exactly what they are now engaging in with this new piece where they talk about an upcoming era of shock events, and they list 3 potential things that society is going to have to be leery of. Number 1, they say there is a new global extremist group that is going to emerge. They also...
I want to just read some of the paragraphs. So the new global extremist group emerges with the world distracted with multiple major wars and leadership in decline. This could be an opportunistic time for a new extremist group to make its mark and maybe not face as many consequences. Perhaps it will even leverage AI tools to kick off a new phase of terrorism. That's the coffee maker. Wow. And yeah, they just kind of know that this is going to emerge. They will create it and they will manifest it.
Say there's going to be a cyber pandemic that will be intentional.
Cyber pandemic, cyber Polygon. The massive global IT outage in July was not terrorism, but simply a faulty software update from a cybersecurity firm, yet it cost Fortune 500 companies $5.4 billion in damages and shut down flights, banks, hospitals, retailers, and other service worldwide. I think that was just a test for the lovely people like Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, and our leadership in decline. Imagine if a bad actor did this. A bad actor. On purpose. And an even grander scale. Look into Cyber Polygon. Another simulation that the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, pulled off by bringing in all of the experts all over the world from many different industries. What happens if we have a cyber pandemic? Well, Klaus Schwab said that, well, it'll make the COVID pandemic look like a walk in the park. Imagine Yeah. No electricity for anyone. Everything coming to a complete halt. And all these people that won't be able to access their cell phones. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Climate change claims its first island nation in the post-pandemic era. The COP28 plan to phase out fossil fuels may take decades, and it's unclear if world leaders will follow through. What's more probable is that in the meantime, certain island nations who emit only 0.3% of global emissions will keep fighting their cause, whether it's through international law or new climate funds. But if these islands do succumb to climate change, sinking a lot faster than we expect, how will climate activists and world leaders react? So, again, the link. It's in the chat. You can listen to more of Dan. Plans for artificial intelligence to run city, as mayoral candidate insists, Vic bot would be good for democracy and hosts meet and greet. Where? Cheyenne, Wyoming. Wyoming. Vic. This is crazy. I will post the link if you want to read the article. Not a world I want to live in. Not a world anyone will want to live in. Oh, those who are gung-ho on this are really subjecting their own offspring to a very evil world. Listen to this. So, at the DNC in Kamala, they're all talking about joy, 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 right? Joy. Joy. Apparently Kamala Harris is going to bring back joy. Whoop. You're having trouble playing this video. Here.
Harris run around the country. Joy! We're going to bring back joy! Strength through joy! I want you to Google strength through joy.
Strength through joy is the slogan, so laugh and grow fit.
I'm sure by now you've heard...
Aren't we as silly people? They put so much in our face. And then when you try to, just circulate or share information about what is in our face, gee, can you see the comparison of this person saying that and this person that said that in a very evil time, and it was a very evil person? I don't want to hear it. You're just so dark. You're so negative. You're such a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. What is this? I don't care about Jordan Peterson. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not fond of him. But, yeah, I mean, it's the information that is primary for me, not the person delivering it.
It's bottomless. No matter how bad you think someone can act, there's something someone did that was worse than that. So when people read the history of Nazi Germany, they always think they're Schindler. They always think that they're the person who would have saved Anne Frank in the Netherlands. They never read history as a perpetrator. I wouldn't have done that. It's like, did you watch people during the pandemic? In Canada, 30% of my neighbors were thrilled that they had the opportunity to inform on the people around them. Thrilled. They would have worn those goddamn masks for the rest of their life if the payoff would have been they could feel morally superior and inform. And so, people have a very dark side. And see, once you start to understand that, it also lifts the moral burden off you to some degree. It's like, well, you aren't who you think you are. You're way worse and way better. And that's your friend, for example. He discovered that. He discovered he was way worse. It's like, yeah, that's the world. That's reality. Okay, now you know that. Now you know that. You're no longer naive. You might say that. What do you do about that? Well, that's the next question. The antidote to evil is good. And good is deeper than evil.
So what do you think? Are you a Schindler? Forget about, all of the, there was no Anne Frank. And look, we're living a very evil era, okay? A whole lot of Americans cannot face the fact that we are a rather evil people collectively, okay? They can't even face that fact now. But how many of you think that you will, because you've lived the principles that you speak, and your moral core is very strong, how many of you think that you will be on the side of good when things get really ugly? When suddenly you are presented with a whole lot of cops or authority figures and they're questioning you about a neighbor and, well, things are really, really bad now and you might get a couple of loaves of bread to feed your children. If you answer those questions the way the authorities want you to answer them, I bet everyone will say, oh, I won't. I won't. I'll be on the side of good. Wait until the time comes. Wait until the time comes. Nations begin locking down. Airport testing starts now.
LAX or JFK or Atlanta. Maybe you want to go to Heathrow. Maybe you want to go to Singapore or maybe Indonesia or Thailand or South Korea. Any of these countries, and there's a drop in the bucket because there's so many more. They're going to be checking all the passengers now that are traveling for this. This new spread, right? So you start to ask yourself, are we walking into a major, major problem? It's looking like we could be walking into something interesting here, to say the very, very least.
The situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern.
And I think the economy, the last thing it needs is this problem, this situation. Because you start to look at where consumers are, look at where the world is. If things start closing down hypothetically, or new measures are unfolding, like what they've just announced in China they're going to be doing for the next 6 months, this begins to kind of move on a worldwide stage. Look at what happened with the vessel in Argentina. Turned out to be no issue, at least that's what the mainstream media reported. But they stopped the ship. They took the safety measures, the precautions. Are they going to be doing this on a worldwide stage? And if so, what is this going to mean for the world economy? What's this going to mean for consumers? What will inflation look like? Well, I'm going to show you.
The link is in the chat. Whether it's Mpox or bird flu or whatever they bring about, they're going to bring about something. What is this? FDA approves new updated COVID vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna.
Well, this week the FDA approved a new COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna. Both makers say the updated shots will be available in clinics and pharmacies within the next few days. This approval coming as the CDC says there's been a summer wave of the virus, although infection rates are still below the levels that we've seen over the past few years. The CDC is advising anybody over 6 months old to get both the updated COVID-19 vaccine and the flu shot before the end of the year. Now, News 3 has been looking into COVID in schools as kids go back to classroom. We know those can be super spreader events, right? And how you can keep your child from getting sick. You can find our full coverage up right now on WTKR.com.
Well, hello, babe. Hi. Hi, sweet pea. Beautiful boy. My beautiful boy just
Thursday,
walked
Food
in.
and Drug Administration.
So, yeah. Those vaccines, the miracle cure for any virus. You know that, right? All right, I'm just going to post the link. 1 second, babe. I'm going to get... Okay, fine. All right. Yes, you are my priority. My subscribers can wait 1 second. Let me get your dinner. It's already prepared. I just have to set it down. There you go. Voila. Excuse me? What is going on? Did you have a big lunch outdoors? What are you doing? Okay. I know you want treats, but eat your dinner first. Come on. Oh, you bugger. Okay. Okay. Of course you win. You win. There you go. I think Gregory Mannarino looks good in a goatee. And I think he used some dye for his hair. Yes, growing old is not fun. Massive wealth transfer is about to happen. Yes. The Fed is opening up the floodgates. Things could happen before the election, or they could happen right after the election, but things definitely will happen 2024. The link is in the chat. Boy, my stomach is making a lot of noise. So, yeah. And the economy is horrible in 2024. Yeah, and you listen... Oh, I have to get to that one video. What is it, sweet pea? You can eat. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're not getting any more treats, so stop trying to manipulate me. Nick Shirley. Let me. Where is it? Nope. You better. What? Hang on for a second. Well, okay. Here. Asking people at DNC what makes Kamala qualified to become president. You watch that. I've got to post the link. You've got to watch. You just listen to this through. You understand. When you listen to Americans, you understand why we're living the nightmare we're living. And the same goes for the Republicans. They don't have any idea what the people are about. This is the only guy in this video who gave some factual truth to, no, the parties, he mentioned secret clubs. All right. But it is really just amazing to listen to Americans so embedded, so like cemented in the matrix, and don't even try to, shatter their shatter the delusions caused by the lies that they accept.
What do you think makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States?
She's terrible. If she comes into office, it will be done.
Because when we win, there will be a civil war. I'm all for immigration. I'll trade every Republican voter for all the immigrants in. I'll trade them right now.
So I think she'll be able to make the country a lot safer and keep down the immigration and all of that good stuff.
I'm afraid he's going to do something to where he's just going to become a dictator and stay in office. So.
I am here in Chicago. I'm at the DNC, and today we're asking people here at the DNC what makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States. It is extremely interesting that now Kamala Harris is suddenly the best person to become president, as she was once the most unpopular vice president of all time. And there's been a lot of problems underneath the Biden and Harris administration, such as inflation, the border crisis, the cost of living has gone up, and crime rates across the nation have soared through the roof. And now off camera, it appears I was in a restricted zone because I have now been kicked out of the DNC and I'm standing outside of the walls. But I want to let you guys know, if this video gets 10,000 likes, I will be doing a live stream here live tomorrow on Tuesday. If you're watching this video on Monday, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow on Tuesday, live here at the DNC, doing essentially this same video, but live. And this video will include a sponsorship by Ground News. And now let's go on with the video, asking the Democrats here at the DNC, what makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States? And what do you think makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States?
That she's not Trump, and that she's a woman. It's a time for the woman, so she's ready to be a leader.
And what do you think makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States?
She's a prosecutor, and she knows how to prosecute the case against Donald Trump better than anybody.
And what cases against Donald Trump?
Basically everything he's ever done, from trying to steal the election, to assaulting women, to just being a crook.
And what do you think about Donald Trump's claims of him going after Kamala, saying, well, she really hasn't accomplished much, she didn't even pass her bar exam, and the border's been open since she's been president? What do you think about those claims from people like Donald Trump?
I think they are nothing more than stormy winds, the big clouds, and the blazing flames of obfuscation.
If Kamala gets elected, what do you think we can see from her in her first year of office?
She's going to do a lot of listening, and she's going to do what the people want.
Okay, and what do the people want? What do you want?
I want freedom. I want an equal shot at the American dream. I want to control the border. I want a good economy.
What do you guys think about Kamala?
It'll be cool. She's terrible. If she comes into office, it will be done.
It'll be cool to see a female black, she's half black, not fully black, but it'll be cool to see a black president,
Western Indian,
female black president. But I'm definitely voting for Trump.
Let me tell you something. She tries to get the black vote, because if you look at her past things, and maybe 10, 15 years ago when she's in interviews, she identifies as West Indian.
She does.
The only way that she's identified as African American is right now, right now, because she wants the voters. But she doesn't give a fuck. Because where was she at in these past 4 years, and she's vice president? What has she done for us?
She have not.
Can you say one thing that
I didn't even know she was the vice president?
Can we say what she has done?
Let's go, Trump.
And I am going to stand on Trump, and I'm so sorry if that may ruffle people's feathers. But sorry. I have done my own research, and Trump has done a lot for us, more than what the media tries to portray. They're getting all our favorite rappers. They're having Megan Thee Stallion twerk and all of that to gain, because they think that that's going to make us vote for them, and that's not.
And that never got my vote.
And that will never get my vote.
Twerking,
and I'm going to stand on that.
Twerking did not get my vote.
Meg Thee Stallion, first off, the song that she was even saying is very ignorant. And let me just say one thing. Chicago's trying to clean up all the streets so they can have Kamala come into town. Like, we don't have a lot of killing out here. Like, all of these streets right now on Michigan Avenue are not safe. Let's talk about that. But you guys want to clean that up. You want to board buildings up. You want to board businesses up when Kamala comes into town to make it act like Chicago is safe, and it's not.
And do you think there's anything that makes Kamala qualified to become the next president?
I don't think anything, because things that made her qualified when she was a prosecutor that had evidence to get people off of death row, she didn't give a fuck about it.
And what would you say makes Kamala qualified to become president in this election?
her whole career.
What excites you most about her career and what she's done?
She has a lot of accomplishments in terms of her time as a prosecutor, in terms of her period as vice president and being there with the president for the decisions.
And do you think if Joe Biden was still running for president, do you think there would be this much excitement?
No, there would not be this much excitement.
Do you think it was a coincidence that Joe Biden got sick and then Kamala Harris became the next president?
I mean, no.
Do you think that was planned?
No. Who thinks that?
I don't know. That's just what people are saying.
And there was no plan to put her in this year if he wasn't going to run. That just all happened to be. There's no question the debate was a big factor in it.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump
was right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
Because people saw that he was having a difficult night. That's mild. But that was, I don't believe it was planned, and I don't see how anybody could say it was planned.
And how will Vice President Harris solve the situation at the border if she's elected president?
Well, this is my number one thing. Okay, anybody who is not a criminal who wants to come into this country should be vetted. You know, you vet them, and then they get to come in. I'm all for immigration. I'll trade every Republican voter for all the immigrants in. I'll trade them right now.
Yeah, well, a lot of people would because they'd vote for Democrats, right?
No, because that's what they should do. We don't want the Republicans. The Republicans are evil.
And don't forget about this guy because we'll be coming back to him in just a few moments as he has more outrageous things to say. And what makes you excited about having Kamala Harris as the potential next president of the United States?
I'm a woman.
Yeah.
That makes me very excited. Everything she stands for in terms of women's right to make a choice, absolutely critical to me.
And what fears you most about Donald Trump winning?
His incompetence, his vitriol, his inability to work within the democratic system. I just think he's a frightening human being. Yeah.
And what has he done that has proven that he's a frightening human being?
Just listen to what he says, how he says it, and all the vitriol that he's created.
And as you guys know, I have been all over the country asking people who they're going to be voting for and who they think the best candidate is. And I'm always fascinated by the extreme differences in the opinions of others. And I believe it has a lot to do with the algorithms and the news networks we watch and read and which facts are being given to you. And for that reason, I'm excited to tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that helps you navigate the media in a way where you can see the news from all angles. They get together thousands of articles every day, and those articles are then grouped together to compare
money. Why would they not vote for Democrats?
What do you think makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States?
She's not. She didn't go through the voting process. They scared of the system, but I was all by design.
So how do you think it's even possible that she is now running for president when she wasn't even voted in to be the electoral?
Good question. Because
to be the person.
Because it's part of prophecy. If you look at like Egyptian, Kamala means lotus flower. Out of the lotus flower comes the sun god Ra. So what she's going to bring what he wanted. Back in the day, the sun god, along with Akhenaten, they were the rulers of the dynasty back in the day. They're going to bring economic doom because what you have to do, you have to destroy it before you rebuild it. They're gradually doing it now. That's why they got to have these conventions, because they need you to make a covenant with them and be in agreement with them to move forward. That's all this is. It's an exercise to participate in your own doom.
Okay.
This whole system was not built for American citizens. It was built for secret groups to run it. And they're running it. And allegedly Kamala and all them, they're proud of it.
When it comes down to it, what do you think makes Kamala qualified to become the next president?
Well, she's been a lawyer, okay, so she's no dummy, okay? And then she's been vice president. And it's very hard to top the education that you get as vice president to be president.
So what do you think Kamala will do as president to stop inflation?
She said she would look into the price gouging.
And do you think price gouging is right?
We all know it's going on.
Do you think it was right of the Democrats to replace Joe Biden with Kamala Harris for the ticket of who could be the next president?
It's a matter of the vote. I mean, what do you mean?
She didn't receive any vote.
We replace our politicians all the time, and that's within their laws. Is for all their delegates to just say, well, screw whatever people did in the primary, and let's give all our votes for somebody else. They're perfectly not only capable, but it's perfectly all right for them to do that because that's the party's rules. Is it unfair to some people? Yeah, is it unfair to animals that they don't get to vote? Yes, it is unfair to animals they don't get a vote. It's unfair to plants. They don't get a vote either, okay? And you could look at it this way, and it's actually true. They don't get a vote, okay?
Yeah, because they're not a human.
They're not a human. They're not 18 years old, okay?
How would a plant vote if it wanted to vote? Like, it's literally impossible.
Well, given enough technology, when we can finally talk to plants, and they live longer than us, so they get to be 18 years old, you know, and they get to vote for a long time, well, okay.
You believe that plants should have the right to vote?
I believe that they think that they should have the right to vote. I believe that your dogs and cats, if you were able to talk to them, they would say, yes, we have the right to vote.
In your opinion, what makes the Democrats so excited to suddenly be voting for Kamala now, since Joe Biden has dropped out?
Well, that's an obvious question. There's a little bit of excitement because Joe Biden is kind of losing it, you know.
What do you think makes Kamala qualified to become the next president?
I mean, she has so much great experience. I mean, you can't, being a vice president, she is one person away from being a president. So, I mean, that qualifies her great experience, attorney general, being for the people, listening for the people. So, like, she checks every box for me.
And what do you think Kamala could do to separate herself from Donald Trump?
I really like her message of, you know, I'm this, he's that, I'm this. Like, I know his type.
What are some of the...
Are you getting it? Are you getting it? We don't think properly.
accomplishments that Kamala and Joe have done since they have been in the office?
Well, definitely, we bounced back from COVID. I think they really got us on the right track. The economy's booming. Unemployment is low. So I think they've done a lot of great things. Yeah.
And is there anything Donald Trump could do in these upcoming months to potentially sway you to vote for Donald Trump?
No. I would never vote for Donald Trump, no.
What would be...
The economy is great. Unemployment is low. Really? Wow, are you programmed? You don't have independent thinking. You have been taken over by government officials and by mainstream media. The economy is great. Oh boy, are we in trouble. All right, there's another guy. I can't remember. Yeah, let plants vote. Okay. But another guy who's talking about 401k. K is just doing great. It might be this guy. Come on, jump ahead. Thank you.
Harris and Walz ticket.
Nothing makes me excited, but it's more the platform that they're on.
Okay, and you think there's more hope voting for the same people that are in office right now to fix the country?
What's there to fix? The economy's doing great. Stock market is up, so if you're a white male, like he said, you're doing pretty good. Your 401ks are doing pretty good. Inflation sucks, but the problem is that people think that inflation is due to administrations when it's not.
Sure. And what makes Kamala?
The economy is great, and the white guy is doing really good. Oh, God. I do try to restrain, or minimize how much I curse. But could you imagine what's going through my head right now? So, the economy is booming.
Let me just give you my take on the economy as a small business owner. Here's why I'm worried. I own a coffee shop with a friend. We've been in business together 11 years. At the height of it, before COVID, we had 3 coffee shops. Now, we lost 2 of those during COVID, but we came out of it okay with our flagship store that's been in business for 11 years, and our company's debt-free. And I'll say this, I'm more worried about business now than ever because I've seen my sales continue to increase year over year for the last 11 years straight. I have less debt as a company than I've ever had. It's still mostly owner-operated. But because of the cost of products and the inflation in taxes and the inflation in banking fees and the inflation in payroll, my profits are shrinking as my sales increase. And my employees are strained because they need to make more money to pay for everyday things, and I can't afford to give them a raise. I also can't afford to raise prices because the consumer is tapped out and my prices are already higher than they should be because of all these things. So as it gets worse and worse, my sales are increasing and my profits are doing this. The reason I'm so concerned is because I truly believe the consumer is tapped out. And soon those sales numbers are going to start to plummet. And as those sales numbers start to plummet, it's going to be game over for every small business in America. I'm already seeing it happen all over town where I'm operating. I'm seeing restaurant after restaurant after restaurant close their doors. I've seen 3 in the last month that have been in business just as long as I have throw it in and say we can't do this anymore. So my perspective is from that of a small business, and I'm telling you, it's my opinion that this economy is in grave danger and that we are on borrowed time. That's just my personal opinion. Do with that what you will.
Sense of why people.
Your personal opinion happens to be fact.
Actually, in my comments, begging for an economic collapse to happen.
If I had to put my finger on it, I would say it's because the economy has already collapsed for about half of the country. These are the people that are working harder than they've ever worked, making more dollars than they've ever made, and going backward faster than they've ever gone before. This is if they have a job, assuming, or it's not a matter of like, do they have a job? It's how many jobs do they have? Because in a lot of cases, people have 5, 6 jobs that they're trying to do, and they're trying to juggle everything. Oh, and a whole bunch, and they're all a bunch of side hustles. At a certain point, people get really, really sick and tired of that shit. And right now, a whole bunch of the country is finally starting to say, hold on, this is all the fault of a worthless goddamn dollar that's been printed to complete dog shit level currency. And it is. This is why they have a whole bunch of fucking illegals come into the country to try and prop that shit up, and they're all being subsidized. Of course, the American people aren't being subsidized at all. In fact, what they get is inflation and eviction notices. And on top of that, as far as real estate's concerned, let's talk about that. You've got a whole nation of people, a whole bunch of real estate bros trying to tell everybody to leverage themselves to the gills to buy $400,000 houses to rent them out to make $300 a month in fucking cash flow. Are you serious? That's the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard. Why would you take on that much risk for $300 a month? You'd be better off doing anything else than that. Yet they still do it. And all this does is keep propping up this ridiculous economy that doesn't actually work anymore. And people are seeing it. So when you see people saying we want an economic collapse, what they're saying is, dude, this isn't working for us. That may be great that it's working for a handful of fucking boomers that already made all their money and got bailed out in 2008. People are getting sick of it because those of us that didn't get bailed out in 2008, we get to pay for all this, right? So that tends to make people really angry. In 2008, had this all been allowed to collapse and there was no bailouts, right, then this wouldn't be happening right now. Housing prices would have collapsed then, right along with all kinds of companies that should have got out of business long time ago. You have companies now that can't afford to actually keep people employed anymore. So they're making up every excuse in the world. This is where you get these performance reviews, where you bring the employee in and give them a fake review so that you have an excuse to not give them a raise or a promotion, looking for anything that they could have done wrong. This ridiculous level of standards that nobody can actually live up to. And companies are doing this kind of stuff. So more and more people see this, and more people that are in the working class are really starting to actually get very pissed off about it. And as far as truck drivers, speaking as a truck driver, one who does all that job, no, I'll still roll, but I just won't roll for dollars, right? Fuck the dollar. It's a dead currency. In fact, people should be stopping paying taxes right now because clearly they can print as much as they want anytime they feel like it. So why wouldn't they want an economic collapse? For many people, actually, a complete and total collapse of the system means a shuffling of the deck, and it actually means there's a good chance they could actually be back on that they could be on the top of the stack just because I don't know, maybe they're competent. When you have a destruction of competency, which is what we've seen right now in this country, the competent people check out and say, dude, this is stupid. Why the hell am I going to work my ass off to not get ahead? That's what you're seeing. I did a whole video on that very topic. So if you're wondering why it is that people want an economic collapse, they should. It's long overdue. This is a stupid economy. It's fake. None of this should exist any longer. Politically speaking, look at what's going on with this. Nobody wants any of these people. None of them are any good. Nobody wants to vote for any of these fucking people any longer. Why would they? They're a bunch of checked out goddamn boomers. And the ones that aren't boomers, all they're doing is spending their time in Congress or in the halls of Congress just trying to make money and launder it through Ukraine and to continue genocide all over the world. So, why wouldn't they want to collapse? No, the fact is the dollar is the single biggest problem that we have. And it's the one thing that unites all of us in the disaster in which we all currently find ourselves. If that goes away, then that means another currency can come in that's hard asset based or just straight.
Digital currency. Does he not know about digital currency? Okay, again, YouTube, wake 'em up. The link is in the chat. Come on over to YouTube, wake 'em up, and give him some support. All right. Jack Daniels, maker, scraps DEI policies after threat of anti-woke boycott. I didn't know Jack Daniels was just on board with Tractor Supply and Harley Davidson and John Deere. Whoa, what companies, man. Spirit's giant Brown Forman Corporation with a market capitalization of $21.37 billion. The latest company to scrap its diversity, equity, and inclusion program. How could you even adopt it? Brown-Forman will stop linking bonuses and pay to DEI progress, end its participation in an annual ranking of companies with LGBTQ-friendly environment, and throw out its plans to push for more diversity groups of suppliers. Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley Davidson. They actually went along, just that they went along with it, and even, okay, we're going to scrap it, just that they actually initiated programs on DEI, I think is enough to boycott them. Though, for those who drink, Jack Daniels is a hard boycott. Okay. I don't drink, but I used to drink Jack Daniels. Asking people at DNC would make... Okay, we did that. Sorry. Asking Brits who they would vote for in the U.S. election. Nick Shirley again. Link is in the chat. Yeah. Well, we're kind of cousins, right? Same family dysfunction. Yeah. Same crazy thinking in a whole lot of Brits.
If you lived in the United States, who would you vote for between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris?
Oh, Kamala, 100%.
We think he's the saviour of the Western world. If Trump gets in, we've got hope.
In Great Britain, and this man has a tattoo of MAGA, of Donald Trump, on his back. Today I am in London, and today we're going to be asking the people of Great Britain who they'd vote for if they could vote in the US elections. And you may be wondering, Nick, why are you making this video here in London? However, I think it's important for you watching this video, if you're in America right now, to understand what Great Britain and other countries think about our politics in the United States, and to see what kind of media they receive on their end, and that way you can better understand how they perceive us as a nation and why US politics is so important not only to the United States, but to the entire world. And this is another election special here on my channel. We will be doing these videos up and towards the election, so if you're new to the channel, give this video a like and subscribe so you know.
Scary. I'm amazed that anybody would ever vote for Donald Trump. He is such a nutter. But to be fair, we've had nutters in this country. We've had people voting for Boris Johnson, who was the same ilk as Donald Trump.
What makes Donald Trump such a nutter?
I'm gonna come.
And remember this guy, because we are going to be coming back to him later in this video. We see you got a Donald Trump hat on, Trump 2024, and what are Brits saying and thinking about Donald Trump?
The Brits, well, most of us love Trump. Superstar. We do believe if he gets in November, he will help us, he will sort the West out. We're sure of this. And we really don't like Biden at all.
What do you guys think will happen if Kamala Harris wins?
Well, we're stuffed. That's what I think. I think we need Trump to actually sort this world out, and he will. I do believe I've got trust in Trump.
Did you say that we need Donald Trump?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, my British subscribers, I think you need to be educating your fellow citizens. PBS and CNN call out Biden's lies. CNN and Newsweek actually had a headline, Biden lied and lied and lied. What's going on? It doesn't matter anymore what's going on. That's how far gone we are. Doesn't matter. That CNN is calling out the lies. PBS calling out the lies. Newsweek calling out the lies. They can call out the lies every single day from here to the election, and it might make a little dent in the head of a few Democrats, but people haven't cared for decades. Biden has been called out with his lies for decades. He should never, ever have been put back into Congress. He should never have been vice president. He should have been excluded because he's a lying psychopath. But hey, keep him rolling. Americans should have been up in arms.
Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.
But anyway, I want to just go over some of the stuff that's been happening at the DNC and the main stage, right? So I was covering the protests, showed you the cops, showed you how they locked everything down, how they were able to put up miles of fences overnight in Chicago.
Saying it, you think he was ever in charge? He wasn't.
He's no.
I don't even know which Biden this is right now. He sounds too coherent to be the Biden prime.
So, so that's that. And they all cheered that. What's this
in a
one?
bloodbath.
There it is.
If he loses in his.
By the way, the good people on both sides have been debunked by everybody, including Snopes, the most in the tank for the Democrats fact-checking organization that there could possibly be. Snopes. Even they debunk the fine people on both sides. My God! And he does it on national television. And the people who wrote that speech for him know it's a lie, and they don't care.
Also,
and it's all scripted. They are putting it in your face. This is not Biden, by the way, but they are putting this in Democrats' faces. We lie to you all the time. I'm going to come on stage as your president, and I'm going to say the same thing that I have said that has been debunked by the left mainstream media, and I'm just going to keep saying it. And you're going to sit there and listen to me and not do a flippin' thing because you don't have a moral core in your body. Lying is just something that, hey, that's what we do and it's how we roll. Scripted, orchestrated. Come on, Biden, or who the hell you are. Speak the lies again. Speak the lies. God. Yeah.
I assume he knows he's been cooed out of office.
Yes!
Like, you know that there was literally a coup that forced you out, and now you got to say this dumb shit?
So here, let's see what he says.
Words.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine, all he does is build car manufacturing plants. He's the biggest in the world.
So that's what he was talking about. Everybody knows that's what he was talking about. Right. But Joe Biden needs to lie. If Donald Trump is such the horrible person that the Democrats make him out to be in the media, why does Joe Biden have to lie about him nonstop? Why does Joe Biden have to lie? Because they had to create this narrative where he is the worst thing in the world, so you can project every horrible thing in your unconscious on.
This skipped too. This should not have been here. I just wanted you to see here. Wow, I can't stand what's happening on YouTube. Listen.
So you know that's a joke, right? So you know that's just propaganda, just like everything that they're saying on stage is propaganda. I'm going to show you some of the worst stuff. So here's even CNN fact-checked Joe Biden. It says fact-checking night one of the Democratic National Convention. Biden, this is from Newsweek. Biden took to the stage and lied and lied and lied. That's That's in Newsweek. Okay? This is from CNN. Democratic state and federal office holders, including President Joe Biden, delivered some false, misleading, or lacking key context claims on the first night of the Democratic National Convention on Monday. Biden repeated misleading claims he has made in previous speeches about billionaires' tax. Biden is a pathological liar. And it kind of drives me crazy. I'm not saying Trump isn't a huge liar also, but what I say in my stand-up act, if you think that CNN and the establishment hates Donald Trump because he's a politician who went to Washington, D.C. and started lying, well, guess what? I've got a vaccine I'd like to sell you. Hey, where's my headphones? Maybe, is the sound okay, Andrew? How's it sound? Are you listening?
Yeah, you sound good.
I'm trying to listen.
Everything sounds okay. Can you undo those?
Yeah, you sound good.
So they're politicians. They're all liars. That's the problem with politicians, right? So he also overstated the extent to which his efforts to fight climate change are expected to reduce U.S. carbon emissions in the next decade. Biden, we have 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what their average tax rate is? 8.2%. That's false. Today, the richest Americans pay an effective tax rate of more than 20% on their income. The government, so he lied about that. Here's new fact-checking the top lies told by President Biden during the DNC address.
Then he goes into the bloodbath, which he was talking about, bloodbath for the car industry. Look, I'm don't misunderstand. I am not for Trump. But, yeah, Americans, okay? As far as I'm concerned, all of this reflects where Americans are. And we have allowed these people to lie our entire lives and never held them accountable. Kamala Harris was the least liked vice president ever. I'll post the link if you want to listen to Jimmy Dore on that. And the Democratic Party exists to make sure good people do nothing.
To make sure good people do nothing. The reason I criticize the Democrats so much can be explained in the aphorism, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." The Democratic Party exists to ensure that good people will do nothing. Gaza is such a perfect example of this. When Instagram progressive Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez promulgates the blatant lie that Kamala Harris is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza, the result is that people who trust AOC will relax and stop pushing for an end to the genocide. They have been told by the congresswoman who's been marketed as standing as far to the left as anyone can reasonably be that the current administration can be trusted to take care of this thing, so all they need to do to save Gaza is vote for the vice president in November. It isn't necessary to impose such manipulations upon Republicans who simply support Israel's atrocities in Gaza because they believe Muslims should be exterminated, and because Israel is going to fulfill a biblical prophecy that will bring back Jesus and send all the heathens to burn in hell. Such manipulations are only necessary to politically nullify the kinds of people who would otherwise see what's happening in Gaza and move mountains to end this mass atrocity.
But no, you're going to wait for your saviors to do the work that every one of us should be doing. We're not little children. Let mommy or daddy fix it. All right, I'm going to post a link to this. Ovation Eddie 2. You might want to check out the channel. Okay, DNC Clown Show.
Well, last night's circus at day 2 of the DNC event had no shortage of clowns.
Well, you know that laugh. I love that laugh. We need an economy that works for all of us, not just the billionaire class.
My entire life, I have heard Democrats speak that line. We have more billionaires, and we have more homeless, and we have more destroyed Americans. The bullshit that these messages, and then you have these audience members who are, yay, yay. They have never done it. They never will do it. And that's just the bullshit line that they're just selling the party to Democrats. Once again, same old, and nothing ever changes. Everything gets worse, and Bernie and others just get richer and richer.
Not just the billionaire class. Take it from an actual billionaire.
He is the governor of Illinois. Yes. And don't you know that those billionaires, they so want to serve the people, right? I got a bridge to sell you.
She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed.
They've purchased the Martha's Vineyard estate, former First Family paying a little less than $12 million. The nearly 7,000 square foot home has 7 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms.
They were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed.
My name is Dr. Joey Perella, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm proud to stand with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. It's time to turn the page on Trump for... Thank you. Kansas, how do you cast your vote? I can't hear.
He's lost his bearings, as we can see day by day. Kamala Harris. This November, we can choose a brighter, a fairer, a freer future, or we can relive the dark night of Trump's American carnage.
What's your message to former President Trump tonight? You can't always get what you want. Senator Chuck Schumer, the senior senator. You can't always get...
Hello?
Peter, where the hell are you? You gotta get down to the clam, man. There's like 60 clowns in here.
Peter, they threw what I thought was a bucket of water on me, but it turns out it was just a bunch of confetti.
Oh man, I gotta get over there.
It is a clown show. It really is. It is. Wow. You know, they have so much fun making Americans look like complete and utter assholes. DNC delegates stage sit-in demanding Palestinian speaker. They would not allow even a Democrat representative of Georgia to speak because, why? She's Palestinian American. DNC delegates plug ears to block out protesters. This is how disgusting these people are.
Was as you walk in and out of the convention center, you can only do it in one place. And so when you walk out, everybody has to, well, unless you're, super important, then you can drive your car right up to the door. But if you're just a regular person like us and those people, these regular delegates, you have to walk, and it's far. It's far. It's at least a half a mile, if not a mile, just to get out of the place and get to a place where you can get in a cab. So they're all leaving, and there's a Palestinian protester is reading out the names of dead Palestinians, kids, children. And watch what the Democrat. So I already told you the Democratic delegates don't give a shit about this. They don't give a shit about anything. They just want to be excited that they're invited to the party. That's what it felt like when I was in there. It was depressing me. They don't care that there's no. I told you I interviewed. Well, let me play this for you, and then we'll talk about it. Watch this.
The blood of these children on your house. 13 years old. Sama Abu Lib.
So they would read out a name and say how old they are. And so they read out the name of someone who was 18, and these two jokers mocked it. And then this person asked them, hey, do it again. Do it on camera. Mock it on camera. And they do. Watch.
Say it again. Say it again. Mock them again. Mock the children again. Do it again. Do it again.
18 years old. 18 years.
Why? So those are the kind of garbage people that I knew I was surrounded by inside that convention hall. It made me feel dirty. It made me depressed. No one really gives a shit about any of it. They just love that they're invited to the party. And let's try to make that guy famous.
Mock them again. Mock the children again. Do it again. Do it again.
18 years old. 18 years old. Yusuf Hassan.
And they're all plugging their ears. So they all plug their ears. So they don't want to hear it.
Turn around and join the uncommitted delegates in the protest. The blood of these children on your house.
I'm sorry, but this is so typical of Americans. Don't you dare shatter my illusions. Don't you dare bring me down from my pursuit of happiness. Don't you dare bring up anything serious. Children being murdered. Oh, I gotta put my fingers in my ears. I have to mock these people. I understand why he was depressed. I would be so sickened. I'd have to figure out where the nearest bathroom was to throw up. Why democracy leads to tyranny. It's 7:14. I will post the link. This is Academy of Ideas. But it does, let's just listen to a few minutes.
Remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and destroys itself. It is in vain to say democracy is less proud, less selfish, less ambitious, or less avaricious than aristocracy or monarchy. It is not true, in fact, and nowhere appears in history. Those passions are the sauce and destroys itself. Flash members. Remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and destroys itself. It is in vain to say democracy is less proud, less selfish, less ambitious, or less avaricious than aristocracy or monarchy. It is not true, in fact, and nowhere appears in history. Those passions are the same in all men under all forms of simple government, and when unchecked, produce the same effects of fraud, violence, and cruelty. In every age, there is a set of beliefs that are elevated to a sacred status, and questioning them is deemed heretical. For centuries, it was the dogmas of Christianity that possessed this status. Today, it is the dogma of the democratic state. Democracy, as currently practiced, is the greatest form of government, and anyone who denies this commits blasphemy, or so we are taught. But just as much of the Christian dogma was a veil to protect the power of the church, the same can be said about democracy. Democracy, with its political campaigns, elections, and the illusion of rule by the people, is a veil behind which politicians and bureaucrats parasitically enrich themselves, while imposing their corruptive vision of society on the rest of us. In this video, we explore some of the fatal flaws of modern democracy, and explain how instead of promoting social flourishing, it has given rise to a form of soft totalitarianism. Conceived as the foundation of liberty, modern democracy paves the way for tyranny. Born for the purpose of standing as a bulwark against power, it ends by providing power with the finest soil it has ever had in which to spread itself over the social field.
I will post the link again. Very good video. Might want to listen to it. If not, you might want to circulate it. Very important. Yeah. Very important. So, of course, shots fired in Chicago restaurant with DNC attendees inside. Well, I guess their security wasn't, some kind of tight security, tight-fisted security.
Tanya, you can see there is a heavy police presence behind me here. Officers right now have Canal Street blocked off at Roosevelt after customers say shots were fired at the White Palace Grill. A manager at the restaurant tells us they had several customers inside. When a man walked into the restaurant, he became agitated, she says, and started arguing with people. The manager says it was unclear exactly what he was upset about or who he was arguing with. Police say a 42-year-old man was inside the restaurant at the time. When he was walking out, the suspect fired his gun and shot the man multiple times. Some of those customers inside the restaurant, we are told, were DNC delegates who...
Well, it's Chicago, baby. It's Chicago. Humanitarian zone overcrowded as Israel orders evacuation from Khan Yunis. Again, they just keep them, those who have actually survived, they just keep them running from here to there and everywhere.
مرة مصاب فيها وخليهم المطر حفاد البلد 20 مرة نزحنا من هنا اقسم بالله وحياة ربي فضولنا انقصفت دورنا وخيامنا مش ملاحقين على هذه الحياة حتى يا الله عيشة يا الله بدهم يشأنون عليها.
هي المواصي هي المواصي يا عالم هي المواصي يا شعب حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
ايش بدك تصور؟ هي
So disheartening how little life is valued these days by some. No, Tilam, by most people. Remember growing up and you would hear people say life is precious? Really? Oh, I'm sorry. What we have manifested is that life means nothing. Weep. That's for tomorrow. But we've got a whole lot of problems. All right, so again, just in case that subscriber who asked for this link, I kept that open. The link to the Oregon program, Hacienda Home Ownership Program, 30,000 down from Oregon taxpayers for non-American citizens, meaning illegal migrants. Yeah, give them $30,000 to put down on a house. I'm sure Oregon has no homeless people, so they can do this. Sarcasm? Here.
As well today. So what we're saying, Ben, is we're going to allow millions of people to come into this country and take away homes or whatever from British people who need them. And that is not racist to make that comment. That is an absolute proven fact.
It is.
And I'm going to start with the obvious, which is today the Labour Party has shown its true colours. And this is extraordinary. So Angela Rayner has announced that she's abandoning plans to give British people, in brackets, who have paid their stamp or taxes, close brackets, priority council housing. We're going to allow migrants to get that. And if you thought that wasn't bad enough, I'd love your response to this, because this sent me today quite literally over the edge. If you're a terrorist and you wanted to get social housing, you were going to be banned under Labour's manifesto. That's been reversed as well today. So what we're saying, Ben, is we're going to allow millions of people to come into this country and take away homes or whatever from British people who need them. And that is not racist to make that comment. That is an absolute proven fact.
It is. String of groping incidents in Park Slope, Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn is part of New York City. I lived in Park Slope. Park Slope was a beautiful neighborhood, and, well, all neighborhoods now in New York City are rapidly declining.
Are on edge and on alert tonight. Police.
If anybody wants to see it, the link is in the chat. But New York, man, is really, wow, I can't believe on a daily basis what I'm seeing. And yeah, I'm a New Yorker, so, you know, I do have a tendency to focus on New York, but I'm like, okay, they're the city I love, have loved, is no longer, I don't even recognize it.
Surveillance video obtained exclusively by Pix 11 News shows a disturbing trend. The victim, doing her normal routine, when out of nowhere, you see two men riding on a moped on the sidewalk snatch her purse. She tries to hold on but hits the sidewalk as the thieves get away without even slowing down. This is how quickly it could happen to anyone walking down a street. When we showed the video to this woman,
that's super scary. I mean, I just think about my parents walking down the street and that happening to them.
Police say they have been tracking a surge in robberies and other violent crimes where mopeds are being used as a quick escape. Criminals in a blink of an eye snatching purses, jewelry, cell phones, you name it, without missing a beat. Earlier this summer, outdoor diners were targeted. Surveillance video shows the suspect getting away on a moped. Since the start of the year, the NYPD sees more than 20,000 illegal two-wheelers, but are still tackling what has been playing out on the streets.
They have given mopeds for free to illegal migrants in New York City. This guy, listen to what this guy says, because it's abject bullshit. The reason why this is going on, illegal migrants got mopeds, and the police really aren't doing anything about it.
Chief of Patrol John Chell tells us staying ahead of these criminals is not easy.
They're extremely elusive. They're very hard to get them. And think about it. You're never going to catch them one-on-one. You got to be strategic about it. It takes a lot of coordination.
While police continue to get these bikes off the streets, there is a warning to every New Yorker to stay vigilant. What are you doing to keep your bag safe?
Grabbing it, just keeping it close to me and just making sure my hand is on it so that way nobody can get it from me.
And furthermore, and I've only been to Staten Island once, but I always considered it like, a suburb of New York City. Again, New York City is comprised of 5 boroughs. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island. I always thought of Staten Island as like, that was the borough where, there was peace and sunshine. Not anymore. Okay, well, we've got a lot of crime now in the UK, but here, man, the crime is just, it is kind of unprecedented, and Americans, man, we're not saying much about anything. All right, so it's 7:27. I can't believe that I actually got to the end. Okay, I thank you all very much for showing up. We're not in good shape. Everybody should be outraged and screaming, but man, we have a lot of Americans that put us in our place. We shouldn't worry about that. Do what you can. Live honestly, speak honestly, develop yourself as a trustworthy human being, which means you speak a word, you keep that word. Your behavior, it's consistent for the most part, right? And you help one another. You help people in need in your community. Be reliable. Reach out to those that you know are hurting. And, just bring your best, whatever that looks like. It's exhausting, but we got to do it every day. So, on that note, I say stay safe for sure. Let's just do a quick look at radar. All right, well, they've extinguished some of these supercells up here in Nebraska. But what might they have brought before extinguishing them? Look at these frequencies going through this so-called weather front. See the extremely low frequencies? Wow. And this thing looks like it's going to the bathroom and, well, crapping out nanobots. Oh, severe weather warnings only for Montana now. Daniels Valley, Montana. Yep. All of it manufactured. So do stay safe. Help those that you know are needing help. And, life. It's quite a trip. On that note, I say good night, good luck, and ciao, guys.